Trevor, we end the show with 2 segments. These are fast segments.
Okay.
You've been more than generous with your time. So the first segment is called The Many Sides to Us.
Okay.
And so this you have to answer in 1 word.
Okay.
And there's 5 questions. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What is 1 word to describe what someone would say about you meeting you for the first time?
Friendly.
Friendly. Okay, yeah. Friends and friendly, 2 different things, but friendly. Okay. Question number 2. What is 1 word to describe what someone would say about you that knows you extremely well?
Consistent.
Nice. Okay. Question number 3. What is 1 word you'd use to describe yourself?
Mercurial.
Okay. All right. Now I'm going to have to ask you to expand. Like that. I was not expecting that word. That is a very, yeah. Tell me why that word. Like you can now go off 1 word. Like
I'm consistent in the fact that I'm also mercurial. Part of it, funny enough, I think was not created by, but as somebody who has ADHD, it took me a long time to learn in life what that did to my brain, how that affected how I process time, an idea, a thought, an object, any inquiry that I would have could be in some way, shape, or form affected by that. And I think, funny enough, there's a huge misunderstanding. Sometimes I actually, hate how we've created a lot of the conversations around the mind is the best way to put it. Because,
Tell me,
because some of the terms have become so rote, and some of the ideas have become so simple when they're not. I remember when I was young, when I was diagnosed with ADHD, they made it seem like you can't pay attention, when in fact it's the fact that you can't choose what to pay your attention to. Very good at paying attention, and so
wow, yeah. It's a very nuanced, subtle.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, even though it's a tiny thing. Yeah.
And so what's been wonderful for me in life is learning again how to be grateful for how I've dealt with something, not even looking at it through the lens of good or bad, but just going it is, and then understanding it like that, and that's what I mean by I think we've really hurt ourselves in society with how we've had some conversations because we've made it seem bad or good as opposed to understanding, because it may not be the same as the norm, so is a short person good or bad? No, they're just short. And the reason we say short is because they're short relative to the general population, the same way someone who's tall is tall relative to the general population. Now, if you're tall, you may be bumping your head a lot more than other people. If you're short, you may not be reaching the things that people have put at an average height. I think the same thing goes for the mind. If you are blessed enough to have a mind or a mentality that is of the norm, most things will work for you and most things will make sense in life. If your mind isn't, that's why they use divergent, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong, but you need to understand how your mind will react to a world that has been designed in a certain way. And so that is why I've learned to understand and accept. I go, I'm mercurial. Again, it was a friend who taught me that, and I loved it once I understood it. At first I was like, no, I'm not. He's like, yeah, you're mercurial. And I was like, first of all, explain the word. And then he explained it to me. I was like, I'm not that. And then I realized I could be 2 things.
Yeah.
I'm extremely consistent. Anyone who needs me knows me. They know where to find me. They know how I'll be. But I'm also mercurial in that how I feel about this on a day and how I feel about that on a day may be more extreme than somebody else's range. And so in that, again, just the understanding and asking the questions of myself, I then exist in a space where I understand. So what'll be funny is sometimes I'll meet people and they'll get distracted and be like, oh, sorry, that's my ADHD. And I'm like, that's not what it is, but
right,
whatever. That like people have done this with everything. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm OCD. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that's not what it, and so we have these very limited understandings of these
caricatures.
Words. Yes, caricatures
of what the things may be. And we've also created an idea of them being a bad, good, whatever. It's like, no, it's just understanding. The same thing we did with glasses at some point. Nearsighted, farsighted, I wear glasses. And then at some point it was just, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think we have a long way to go in the conversations we have around the mind.
Yes.
In getting us to the same place where when you meet someone, they can say that to you and you now understand that, I wear glasses. Okay, great.
Yes.
Whereas I'm sure there was a point where it was like, I wear glasses, so you're blind? Yeah. And now people are just like, do you wear glasses? Oh, you wear contacts? Okay, cool. that's who you are.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is, that our vocabulary around the mind and our psychology is very limited.
Yeah.
And you're spot on. And one thing that you just said that really struck a chord was the idea that if the world is designed for the average, then the challenge is that anyone outside of it feels broken. And that's where I think we've gone wrong, where it's like there's a weakness or a broken. And it's like, no, if the world was designed for those people, then we'd feel broken. And it's just that the world's been designed for this few people. If you created a new planet that was for only people who had a certain disposition, then it would be a very different case. Yeah, no, I love that. That's another whole 2-hour conversation. That's another.
We'll come back.
We'll save that. Yeah, we'll save it. All right, question number 4. What is one word that if someone didn't agree with you or like you, what would they say about you? I'm not talking about like an internet troll or something. Stubborn, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there you go. That's a good word. Yeah, that's a good word. That makes sense. I like that. All right, question number 5. What is a word that you're trying to embody right now? Is there like a focus, a presence with a particular characteristic or value or belief?
Mindful.
Great. All right, those were great. Those are fantastic. Most people struggle with those, so you hit it out of the park. All right, these are the final 5. These are easy, 1 word to 1 sentence. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Never assume.
It's a great piece of advice. Second question, what is the worst piece of advice you've ever heard?
Always be yourself.
That's brilliant. All right.
There are times to be yourself. Don't just be yourself. People say though, relax. But you just be yourself. Relax. You know when to be yourself is a better piece of advice someone can give you.
That's good. Question number 3, what is something you used to value that you no longer value?
Fame.
So there was a time when it was important and needed,
Well, yeah, I think I thought that it would give me something that I'd searched for my whole life, and that was a certain sense of belonging, because there's a familiarity you have with people when you see them. I never cared for it through the lens of like, I'm better. Or no, but I was like, oh man, everyone knows that person. Everyone likes that person. And here I was this kid and I grew up alone for so long. I was like, oh, I'll be familiar. And the word fame, when you look at the root, and I was like, oh, that thing, I'll be familiar. And then ironically, as I said, it jumps straight to you're unfamiliar. And so then I realized, I was like, oh man, you don't think that it will come from something, but rather understand what you're trying to achieve and then, figure out how you're trying to get there.
That's beautiful. I love that. Question number 4, how would you define your current purpose?
As being a fertilizer.
For?
Everything and everyone I come into contact with. I would hope to be somebody who enriches the soil that I touch. I would hope to be somebody who improves somebody's life in the slightest of ways, whether it's helping you solve a problem, whether it's giving you directions in the streets in New York, whether it's making you laugh at a show, talking about politics, whatever it may be. I would hope to do what a good fertilizer does, in that it enables the soil to be richer, it enables the plant to grow taller, it brings all of the pieces together. It becomes a food. It becomes a food that creates more food. It's not a zero-sum game. And so I would say that would probably be what I'd like to focus on most right now, even for myself, because fertilizer even makes itself bigger.
Yeah.
It grows itself.
Yeah.
You add more mulch to it and it keeps on going. And so I think even for me, I look to try and fertilize as much as I can.
I love that. That is one of my favorite answers to that question we've ever had. All right, 5th and final question of the whole interview. If you could create one law that everyone in the world had to follow, what would it be?
Everyone in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would create a law that said everyone, everywhere in the world, randomly, could be given the lowest person's bank account. Like that, it could be like that would be the law. Is that we do this weird system where whenever it may be, every year, randomly, the lowest person's bank account can just go out and become everybody's bank account.
Wow.
The reason I would do that is because I think if we lived in a society where more people felt like their fate was tied to the least of us, they would have a little more compassion and think a little more about how those people may or may not be existing. And that's why I say I wouldn't say anyone can't be rich. I'm not saying that. I wouldn't say anyone can't make as much money as they want. Oh no, go ahead. We should all be doing that. Enjoy it, go for it. But I would just want us all to know that the lowest bank balance, the lowest amount that someone has could randomly go out. And it wouldn't be to everyone.
I get
I would just have it would be like 10% of the population. That's what's going to happen. It's the law. Every year, 10% of the population, your bank balance becomes what the person with the least amount has in the world. And I just wonder how we would live. I genuinely would, because I think sometimes, and I understand it, capitalism, hyper-capitalism, this thing we've been tricked into in believing that in order for you to have, I cannot have, as if trading didn't exist long before it. All of that has tricked us into a world of believing that mine is only mine and yours cannot come with it. So I wonder what would happen in that space. I think even myself, everyone would pay a lot more attention. Go like, yo, how much do you have? Yo, we need to get your balance up. Because I'm trying to keep my life as comfortable as it is.
And the feeling of it could be any of us.
Because it could be.
That mindset.
People take it for granted, Jade. Like it could always be any of us.
Totally, 100%,
Luck is the most random. Man, you can work as hard as you want. Luck is a huge factor. You can be the best. Luck is a factor. You can be the worst. Luck is a factor. So, it really could be any one of us. And so I don't take for granted that I'm lucky. I work hard. I try and shape as much of the environment that my luck will exist within, but I never take for granted that I'm lucky.
Trevor, there's a new thing I learned about you today, that you don't just ask good questions, but you really honor answering questions. and that's
I hate it when people don't, by the way.
Trait,
Oh, you want to talk about one of my pet peeves? Thank you.